Ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome your second act to stage? Will you please raise the roof, shake the rafters, bring God into the room, and please welcome Angela!
My name is Angela Twig, and that does abbreviate to Atwig. I used to get a lot of stick about my name. Thanks for that one, Dad. No, my dad is very creative with names, aren't you, Dad? He's here in the audience, he's going to make me do this. But you are very creative with names, aren't you, Dad? He actually gave me the middle name Jane. And also my sister, middle name Jane. Now, we've been doing this comedy course for 5 weeks, and I do want to let you know it's not like a block of 5 weeks. It's a block of 5 weeks. It's 2 hours a week, every week, which accumulates to just over a day. Totally prepared.
Now, this is only the second time I'm actually doing this. I've been doing the comedy course, Laughing for a Change, with Janice Connolly, which is a brilliant course, by the way, I've got to let you know. And we've been doing a lot of talking on the course about what we're going to base our comedy act on. And I've been thinking, a lot of comedians base their comedy on real life experience. So I thought, well, I'll do that. And I've spent the last 13 years working within the deaf community. I've been running a deaf and hearing theatre company. But I thought, well, you know, can I get away with this? Can I get away with telling jokes about deaf people? You know, because I'm not deaf myself. You know, like Sarah Millican, she does it. She views herself as being a rather larger lady, and she tells jokes about her weight and eating a lot, and she can get away with that because she views herself as being a rather larger lady. So, about 5 weeks ago, and this is a true story, I'm not making this up for comedy effect at all, I did actually notice that I wasn't hearing what my girlfriend was saying to me, and I was getting her to repeat herself quite a lot. So I thought I'll book myself at the doctor's, so I went to the doctor's, and the doctor got out this quite complicated bit of equipment called a tuning fork, which is the same bit of equipment they use to tune a guitar. Bangs it on the table, puts it in my head, it says, "Can you hear that?" "Yes." "Dong." "Can you hear that?" "Yes."
Don, can you hear that? No. So he said, well, yes, you are a little bit deafish. So I thought, great, there's my comedy sketch sorted. It is a true story. So I want to tell you about this deaf guy I know. Somebody knows him as well back there. So this guy, he's doing an absolutely great thing. He's raising money for charity, and this is a deaf children's charity, which is a very good cause and one that I support myself. And he's giving up hours in his life, and he's going all the way from John O'Groats to Land's End. But he's not doing it like it's been done before, ladies and gentlemen, no. He's not cycling, he's not walking, he's not even running. He's driving. He raised £41. So that'll cover his petrol. Some of you might be thinking, yeah, but can deaf people drive? Can deaf people drive there? Well, yes, deaf people can drive. Deaf people can do anything that hearing people can do. They just can't hear. So it's not really that much of a challenge, is it? But if he was blind, then that would have been a challenge. My ex-girlfriend used to be deaf. Not like me, a little bit deafy. She was like properly deaf. But she had some speech as well. And she used to rely a lot on lip reading. Now, lip reading is not easy. It's quite hard. A lot of the lip patterns look the same. For example, fish and finish, they look the same. See, look the same? Look the same, don't they? But I don't want you to take my word for this. I want you to actually practice it yourself. So just get into pairs. Doesn't matter. Grab a person next to you and just practice mouthing. Don't say it. Just mouth the word fish and finish. Go on, off you go. See what I mean? Can you see? Great. So you can see how things could be taken quite wrongly. There's lots of words that do look the same, and just thinking one off the top of my head, dinosaur looks like dirty whore. And a bit of advice, don't do what I did and go to Amsterdam and ask a deaf person the way to the Van Gogh Museum. Just get back into your pairs and practice mouthing Van Gogh. Now say it a little bit more aggressively. So you get that. So my ex-girlfriend she couldn't always hear words correctly, she didn't say words correctly too, she used to walk around the house in her shippers, which was her slippers. She used to sail around the house. There's one time she asked me to change the light boobs. when I told her what she said, she felt right it. Anyway, my girlfriend was quite interested, my ex-girlfriend was very interested, but she used to growl. I always wondered why she did this, and it wasn't until years later and I suddenly realised, I think that she was asking me if she would, I think she thought I was asking her to act like a dinosaur. I wasn't asking her to act like a dinosaur. But I did learn very quickly that dirty talk didn't work in bed. Me being a lady that sleeps with other ladies, obviously use my hands a lot. So, conversation was a bit out of the question because obviously my hands are quite busy. There was this one time when I was asking her not to stop, and she stopped what she was doing, turned on the lights and said, "What did you say?" Killed the moment. Sign language is, I think it's a beautiful language, but it's a very literal language, and deaf people are very direct. If you are fat, they will say, "You are fat." And if you're ugly, they will say, "You are ugly." And some people know some deaf people. And this is true. And sign language is quite, it's a limited language really, and there's one sign that means lots of words. For example, the sign for fat, which is... So in the English language, we might like word things a bit nicely, so to colour them up a little bit so not to offend anybody. So in the English language, you might say that somebody's rather plump. What is it in sign language? She's a little on the larger side. Oh, you're looking well.
And I don't kind of get why it's such a limited language. And sign language has only been an officially recognised language of Britain 10 years ago. 10 years ago, which I think is ridiculous. Because sign language has been around right from the beginning of time. Deaf people have been around from the beginning of time. Deaf people were even around in Jesus' times. I mean, it could have been even that the stories of the Bible were taken wrong. And maybe Jesus didn't have 5 fish. Maybe he wanted to finish at 5. Who knows?
When I do meet people, they do always, because I tell them if I'm fluent in sign language, they want to know some swear words, and I bet you all wanted to know some rude swear words. And we all do it, don't we? We'll meet a foreign person and we'll say, "How to swear in your language?" We do it, don't we? Well, I do it anyway. Well, I'm not going to tell you any rude swear words, but if you do want to know some rude swear words, then watch Mr. Tumbles. People know what's coming, don't they? If you don't know who Mr. Tumbles is, he's basically an annoying twat on children's television. Isn't he? It's time to sign! Mr. Tumbles. If you don't know who Mr. Tumbles is, he's probably equivalent in children's television what Jedward is to adults' television. And if you don't know who Jedward is, then you're very lucky. Anyway, Mr. Tumbles is teaching your children, the children who are going to grow up and run our country, that the nursery rhyme, you know the one, "Twinkle, twinkle, little star." You know that one, don't you? Yeah. Like a diamond in the sky. This is not the sign for diamond, ladies and gentlemen. This is the sign for diamond. This is a very, very, very rude sign, and it's one that I cannot even bring myself to say. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put it on the part of the body that it actually refers to. Mr. Tumbles should come with warning, 18 guidance certificate. I'm going to go in a little bit, but I just want to leave you with this, and I think it's more informative than it is funny. There's a lot of politics in deafness, and some deaf people spell the word deaf with a capital D, big D deaf. And this means that they're proactive in the deaf community, probably a fluent signer, pro-deaf. And then there's some deaf people that spell their name with a little d deaf. And this means they're not so active in the deaf community, probably don't sign, not so pro-deaf. I was thinking this actually does work for hearing people as well, and has worked for myself, because I found that some days I am capital H hearing because I'm really paying attention to everything everybody's saying, and some days I'm little H hearing because I'm really not interested in what you're saying at all. We all do it, we all know somebody. And then I was thinking that if in the future I do go like properly deaf, it's going to be absolutely brilliant, because when someone's just going on and on and on and I really can't be asked to listen to them anymore, I'll simply just shut my eyes. Won't hear a thing. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. You've been a great audience. I've been Atwi. I really hope you enjoyed this, and if you didn't, Van Gogh.
Van Gogh.
Angela Twig, ladies and gentlemen, Angela Twig.